Hi guys, today as the last part of the lymphatic system, we will take up the lymphoidal organs. Lymphoidal organs. There are two types of lymphoidal organs, primary lymphoidal organ or central lymphoidal organ. Number two, secondary or peripheral lymphoidal organs. So primary lymphoidal organs are bone marrow and thymus, whereas the secondary lymphoidal organs are lymph node, spleen and mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Other than this, we have got other type of organs, other organs which work as lymphoidal organs, or Peyer's patches in our gut, appendix, tonsils, salivary and tear glands. These are also work as the lymphoidal organs. You must note these points also. So other organs, Peyer's patches you find in the gut gastrointestinal tract, and then appendix, tonsils, salivary and tear glands act as the lymphoidal organs. Other secondary or other lymphoidal organs. Now, let us take up the primary lymphoidal organ. One, bone marrow. Number two, thymus. Let us take up thymus. Thymus is an organ where T lymphocytes are produced. Thymus produces the T lymphocytes. If you see, of the total lymphocytes produced in thymus, only 1% leave out of the thymus. So out of 100%, only 1% of the lymphocytes, T lymphocytes leave the thymus. All the other 99% lymphocytes are destroyed by the process called apoptosis. You must know the word apoptosis. That means the programmed death by the thymus itself. They kill the lymphocytes by the programmed death. Apoptosis. Then, what is the function of thymus? Thymus educate the lymphocytes they produce to attack against the appropriate antigen. There are specific lymphocytes against the antigen. They are educated by the thymus. So, according to the action of the thymus, or according to the condition of the thymus, according to the education of the thymus, the lymphocytes attack against the appropriate antigen. They are specific against the antigens. Then coming to secondary or peripheral lymphoidal organs, first let us take up the lymph node. If we take up in our body, there are totally 600 lymph nodes. 600 lymph nodes are present in our body. If you show the paracortical area, that is the most important part of the lymph node. I have drawn the small diagram. Is the cortex part. This is the medulla part, outer capsule. In between the cortex and medulla, there is an area called paracortical area, the blue line. Paracortical area. In this paracortical area, there are two areas, B area and T area. B area means bone marrow dependent area. T area, thymus dependent area. B area produces B lymphocytes and T area produces T lymphocytes. Then what are the functions of lymph node? Number one, it filters the lymph. It acts as the filter. It filters the lymph when it goes along this. So we have already seen the path, lymph capillaries, and then they need to form the lymph ducts. Along the lymph ducts, they have lymph nodes. They filter the lymph. Number two, phagocytosis. They actually trap the microorganisms by phagocytosis and kill them. And three, proliferation of B and T cells. As we see, the B area and T area, they produce B and T cells. Then They enlarge. When there is an antigenic stimulus, the lymph nodes enlarge. The lymph nodes enlarge. Then coming to spleen, this is the largest lymphoid organ. This is the largest lymphoid organ. It is the graveyard of RBC. It is a place where the RBC is destroyed. It is a reserve bank for blood. So some amount of blood, small amount of blood is in the spleen as a reserve. That reserve blood is used from the spleen at the time of emergency or hemorrhage. So it's a reserve bank or reserve tank for blood. It's a systemic filter for pathogens. It filters the pathogens. The spleen contains two areas, red and white pulp regions. They serve as the filter. The red and white pulp regions of the spleen act as the filter and filter the pathogens. And then the macrophages present in the spleen remove and destroy the pathogens. Spleen contains macrophages. What is the function of the macrophage? The macrophage actually remove and destroy all the pathogens. Then third secondary organ, MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. M denotes mucosa. So what is mucosa? It's a thin lining layer of the alimentary canal, respiratory canal, or the gastrointestinal canal, urinary path and skin. This is the mucosa, is the lining of the layer of the alimentary canal, and then respiratory path, genital urinary path and skin. The mucosa has got both B and T cells. They act for immunity. This mucosa has got one important antigen, IgA antigen, very important. The antigen present in mucosa is IgA. This MALT or mucosa associated lymphoid tissues of three types based on the presence of the mucosa. One, BALT, bronchus associated lymphatic tissue. The mucosa present in the bronchus region, the respiratory path. GALT, gut associated lymphatic tissue, the lymphatic tissue present in the gut gastrointestinal path. And finally SALT, skin associated lymphoid tissue, the lymphoid tissue present in the skin. So these are all about the lymphoidal organs. Once again, to summarize, primary lymphoidal organ, bone marrow, thymus. Secondary lymphoidal organ, lymph nodes, spleen and MALT. And then thymus, important point to be remembered, they produce T cells. And then lymph node, you must remember the paracortical area between cortex and medulla, they produce B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes. And then the functions we have seen, and there are 600 lymph nodes in our body. And then coming to spleen, largest lymphoid organ, graveyard of RBC, reserve tank for blood in the body, systemic filter for pathogens by the red and white pulp regions, and then the macrophages in the spleen kill the pathogens. And finally MALT, they have three types, BALT, GALT and SALT. So this completes the topic on the lymphoidal organs. See guys, we have finished the circulatory system and the lymphoidal system. In the next video, we will start with the nervous system. Till then, thank you very much.